Good morning. Thank you for joining us on another Saturday workshop. My name is Charles Sinai. We are at the Anti-Fragility Health Clinic. You can see from our amazing sign. So this is a new look to the workshop. Thank you for joining us. So this week, as I promised before on Saturday workshops, we are going to be doing a summary of the conversations with Dr. Johnson. So on Tuesday, we spoke about the thyroid. It's a gland, it's not an organ. You could have heard during our conversations during the week. There's a difference between a gland and an organ. We'll talk about that. Then we also spoke about the kidney on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we spoke about the liver. So the supplements that you see with me here are supplements that are recommended supplements for what we call prevention and also for reversal and for optimization. So let's just take a step back and so you understand conceptually the strategies at Anti-Fragility Health. There's a strategy of prevention. What's the basis of prevention? The basis is that all of us suffer from aging and from the genetic inheritance and toxicity, nutrient deficiency, and all the things that cause chronic illness. Chronic illness creeps on us, and therefore everyone suffers from an increasing deterioration of organ or gland function. And therefore prevention is a very necessary step for everyone to take those precautions because we're all aging. So you cannot say I'm healthy. The challenge with life is that you're healthy until you get sick. And so by the time you get sick, those glands and organs are already significantly damaged. Our second strategy is a strategy of reversal. So if you already have damage and you have a diagnosis and you're already on medication, we have nutrient and lifestyle strategies to ensure that we can do some reversal in any of that organ damage, whether it's your thyroid, whether it's your kidney or your liver, which is our focus today. Our third strategy is the strategy of optimization, which means that if you go to the normal level of performance, you can actually optimize. And most of the solutions around optimization we've been talking about have to do with things like mitochondrial dysfunction repair, optimal sugar metabolism, and think concepts like that. People drinking hydrogen water and doing things that are optimizing mitochondrial and cellular function. So our optimization strategies would leverage things like peptides, NADs, people who take metformin or berberine as extras, and some extra things that would optimize mitochondrial and cellular function. At the core of health is mitochondrial health. Mitochondria is our energy engine at the cellular level. And so if you have good mitochondrial health and you optimize it, it means that the whole body is actually optimized. So our three strategies again, so you're very clear, prevention, reversal, and optimization are the three strategies that we promote for health. And so if you're doing reversal, you can also do optimization as part of reversal. Because for example, if you already have kidney damage or you have heart damage, heart tissue damage, using NAD and other new strategies for optimization would actually hasten your recovery and reversal process. So let's start today with our thyroid. So we have Thyroid, which is a supplement from Orthomolecular, and the Thyroid is supposed to support our thyroid, which is a gland which is just right up there. We all know that because if you come from the third world, a lot of people have goiter, where there's a swollen thyroid, and typically that's a lack of iodine. But that's really rare these days because in most cultures, the milk was fortified with iodine. And so a lot of people also eat seafood and different things, so they get a lot of iodine. Or we do supplementation with iodine. So the shortage of iodine is not that critical these days because a lot of additives to foods and things contain iodine. So you don't see goiters. But we suffer a lot from a hypothyroidism, and which is the fact that the thyroid is not producing enough of the tyrosine, the underlying hormones that are required for optimal functioning of almost everything in the body. So the tyrosine is a really critical health driver. And thyroxine is a supplement that would actually help with the optimization of that. I have a prescription because my thyroid levels are very, very low. So I'm taking a prescription. So I'm doing a reversal. So I'm taking a prescription on top of taking a prevention. So I'm actually doing both. So if you are diagnosed within your blood test, we are looking at T4, right? And we're looking at T3. Most blood tests will not contain that. Therefore, you need to specifically ensure that you get the right tests during your diagnosis. So a couple of our customers called me this week from Baltimore. The lab test they were doing didn't contain T4, but did not contain free T3. So it's very, very important that we understand where your free T3 levels are. And that's a tyrosine, that is the hormone that is produced by the thyroid. You need to know it's really a very critical for weight management, for metabolism. It's actually called the organizer, the driver, the conductor of metabolism. So that was the thyroid. Now we go into conversations about the liver. So we have a very, very important supplement here, which is called Broco-Protect. Broco-Protect is a collection of very, very enhanced adaptogens, broccoli and those things that most of us don't like eating. It's been concentrated, purified, and provided in this set of supplements. And we use this supplement for both prevention and reversal. That's for your liver function. We all know that the liver is so critical, and we have only one. So it's not like the kidney where we have two. I was asking Dr. Johnson during our conversations, why did God give us one liver and two kidneys? I guess kidneys are more important than liver, so he gave a spare. Just like he gave us two eyes, two ears, you know. So it's very interesting, the distribution of the architecture. Give us one heart. You would have thought that if he gave us a spare heart, we could then do some replacements. But if you look at God's architecture, the way he built the architecture was very interesting. But let's talk about liver. The liver is a really, really important agent in the management of fat, metabolism, cholesterol, and a lot of other, the bile, a lot of other hormones and substances that are required for the body. That's why the liver is an organ. It produces and does a lot of other extra functions that are really critical for the body. I don't want to go in deep into the biology and physiology of that. I want to keep it at a very high level. There are 4 supplements here that we recommend for optimal liver function. We have NAC, which is really, a lot of this documentation has, I hope if you're watching on YouTube, the attachments are there, or it's also on Facebook. We're not running Facebook Live today, we're running YouTube Live, since Facebook is beginning to constrain some of our conversations. So NAC is a very, very important supplement. I take that every day. It really goes to the heart of addressing our cysteine, which is a protein that's really very critical. Milk thistle is a natural substance that is also critical. And our CM core, I use the CM core rather than the alpha lipoic acid because CM core comes with berberine and the lipoic acid. It's really a critical supplement for cardiometabolic function. And as I said, whether you're doing prevention or reversal, berberine, which is really a more superior replacement to metformin, berberine is mandatory as part of our daily nutrient whenever we eat. It optimizes and helps with the management of sugar in our bloodstream, a very, very important requirement. As we know, when sugar accumulates in the bloodstream, part of what happens with that increasing amount of sugar is that it gets converted into fat and it's deposited around the organs. The liver suffers critically from this. As we just said, lipid metabolism. The liver is at the heart of lipid metabolism. What's lipid metabolism? Fat metabolism or cholesterol metabolism. And therefore, a lot of fat gets deposited around the liver. And so people then suffer from issues of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NASH. It's a very, very prevailing issue in the country. We also suffer from toxicity because the liver is at the center of detoxification. And we also suffer from cirrhosis or fibrosis, where your liver becomes very fibroid. And therefore, keeping your liver healthy, since you have only one, is really a critical requirement as you grow older. So that was your liver. We just spoke about the thyroid, which is a gland. Then we spoke about the liver, which is an organ, right? An organ has a more complex architectural requirement in the body than a gland. A gland just produces, like the bile gland, just produces bile. Like the thyroid gland produces tyrosine. So they have a singular or much more simpler requirement, or like the adrenal glands that produce the adrenals. Now let's go to another very complicated organ, the kidney. You know that most Americans are gonna have kidney failure. That's the projection. Kidney failure is as a result of high blood pressure or diabetes. All the cardiometabolic issues tend to lead to issues with your kidney. How do you measure where your kidney is? We look at creatinine, which is something that the kidney should process, and based on the amount of that, we can actually determine the underlying flow rates and the amount of damage to the kidney. So as we age and we consume toxins, we don't take in a lot of nutrients, there's a lot of stress, all the things we've spoken about, all the causes of chronic illness. Over time, they cause organ and gland damage. And the damage to the kidney tends to be a very critical thing that we measure. Most doctors in diagnosis would not look at your diagnosis around your kidney and your liver in a lot of detail, but it behoves you, being responsible and the owner of your health, to ensure that when you're testing, that you do significant tests and complete tests for your kidney, because you need to look at those levels of creatinine to ensure that you're having good, and also your flow rates. African Americans have different flow rates from others. So most labs that we use, like Boston, will show those different flow rates in terms of measurement. In kidney, we're looking at mostly the kidney enzymes, whether they're elevated. If they're elevated, it means the kidney is not detoxifying at its proper level. That would then give you an indication. We also have another diagnostic architecture for the liver. We call it the fiber scan, where we can actually get an ultrasound picture of your liver to determine the level of cirrhosis or fibrosis, or the level of steatosis, which is the amount of fat that's accumulating around the the liver. So the kidney function is really a very critical function. One of the things that we do for the liver and the kidney is the detox process that we go through. We have a significant detoxification program. Don't forget that both the kidney and the liver are involved as cohorts in the detoxification process, a very complicated process in the body, which is why a lot of people get sick because of the accumulation of toxins, and the body has no way of removing them out, whether it's in the lymphatic system or whether it's in the bloodstream, or how it accumulates as fat locked up in toxins around the body. So we've spoken about the thyroid in summary, we've spoken about the liver, and we've spoken about the kidney. One of the things that I have learned with Dr. Johnson is reversal for kidney. Some very, very amazing supplements for kidney reversal. That is, if you already have kidney damage, as mine was, going towards the 40s, because if you get to 10, you have to get to dialysis, and I was at 40. And the normal healthy kidney should be about 60, and some people whose kidneys are very, very amazing are around 100. But mine was at 40, and therefore I've been taking the K and the KS from these are biofunction supplements for reversal and optimization of my kidney function. Also, we have Kidney Correct, which is just mostly herbs and extracts. When you look at all these supplements, you begin to realize something very fundamental. I grew up in the village in Africa, in Cameroon, and my grandmother planted all these herbs. And I used to hate it because the taste was always kind of funny, whether it was basil, whether it was something, curcumin or turmeric, onions and peppers, and you know, the taste was always very complicated. Sometimes it was bitter, it was never sweet. And so the fruits supplemented for that. But now I'm selling supplements and nutrients, and I look at all of them and I begin to realize that deep in our cultures, we already had invested and had deep knowledge of all these herbs. And the herbs also, interestingly, grew up in seasons when the herbs were necessary. And so it's now that we have grocery stores that would sell anything, anytime, anywhere, any place, it's very difficult for us to know, as the flu season is coming and COVID, what are the nutrients we're supposed to be having. If you go to the village, you'll find out that those are the nutrients that are growing now. The fruits that are in season now are supposed to be the fruits that we eat, because God created the biology in a way that He provided us with the right nutrients at the right time where we need them, rather than, as we've developed in this culture, eating only the things that we like. We should eat what is in season. It's a very important lesson. I'm going to close by talking about some important supplements that should be in your daily protocol. What's a daily protocol? What do you take in the morning? What do you take at lunch? And what do you take before you go to bed? So vitamin D is the most important supplement. It's one of those supplements that the body doesn't make. And you get it only from the sun hitting your body. And so almost 90% of Americans are short on vitamin D. And I take the 50,000 therapeutic unit almost every day, because to keep your vitamin D levels at a very high level optimally is very challenging. And so you have to be on the therapeutic values for some time. You know, a lot of people say, but I could get overdosed. Sorry, these are not medications, right? It's difficult for you to achieve overdosing levels. The body knows how to achieve homeostasis. This is a supplement, New Adapt, that we rarely talk about. And we've included the paperwork for them as an attachment in the handouts that you receive. But New Adapt is a very, very important supplement in that it builds what we call stress resilience and protects the brain. We are at a time in life where a lot of people are stressed. So if you're one of those people, let's look at the things that are in New Adapt. It's called New Adapt, and it's a stress reduction formula. Most people are stressed. It supports focus and memory. It has bacopa, which is a nootropic. It helps increase focus and memory. Positively impacts mood and helps overcome the effects of repeated stressors. What are the stressors? There are 4 big stressors. There's perceived stress, there's sleep stressors, inflammatory stressors, and sugar stressors, what we call glycemic dysregulation, are the sugar imbalances. So it helps reduce the effect of those stressors. It also decreases stress perception, right? I told you one of the stressors is our perception. And Dr. Johnson spends a lot of time talking about what is stress perception. Something happens and we interpret it and stress ourselves. So it's not what happens, it is how we react to what happens. So L-theanine, which is in New Adapt, increases alpha brainwave activity, which promotes a sense of calm and centered relaxation without drowsiness. So New Adapt is something that we give some of our patients, especially at this time where people are worried about who's going to win the election and they are concerned about COVID and they panic about a lot of things. When are they going to travel? Should they wear a mask when they were to go to the grocery store? Or they eat in restaurants, they're eating, because you know that's the interesting thing about COVID. When you're eating, COVID stays quiet. When you finish eating, you wear your mask, then COVID comes alive, right? Very interesting bullshit. Also, New Adapt helps you build resiliency. So it's a blend of adaptogens. This interesting word, we use words like nootropic and adaptogens. What are adaptogens? Adaptogens are some specific plant nutrients that are really optimized for our health. Just little of them, you know, like thyme, just a little of it is really impactful to our health. Or basil. You don't have to eat a lot of it, just little, right? We tend to call them spices because you use only very little amount and they're really critical for health. And these adaptogens help increase resiliency to withstand the strain of stress. And then also it has what we call phosphatidylserine, which is so to decrease cortisol release in response to stress. As you all know, most times when we do your urine test, testing for hormones, a lot of people have really flat cortisol levels. That's why most people are like dead fish, right? Without cortisol, you're dead. So we have True Adapt, which lifts you up, and New Adapt, which brings you down. But I know that most of you now are stressed, so that's why I was talking about the New Adapt. So also, we have vitamin C. This one is an easy to chew, natural orange blast flavor for $23, 90 tablets. Karen uses this for breakfast, right? Or was it Lucas? Yes, Lucas, you use that for breakfast. So you can see the difference who uses that for breakfast. While Karen is eating McDonald's, Lucas is eating vitamin C. And you can see. And then we have Mitocore. And I put Mitocore here because Mitocore contains the alpha lipoic acid, which is really critical also for the support of your liver and management of your liver. So I'm going to end the workshop today by just reminding you that Thyroid or a prescription is necessary for optimizing thyroid function. And a lot of the reasons why people put on weight or cannot lose weight or they cannot sleep or there are over 25 issues concerned with the thyroid. And Dr. Johnson recommends that you do the questionnaire to see where you fit, plus the blood test to give you a sense whether you have optimal thyroid function. And the key measure is the measure of free T3. Free T3 levels are critical for your health. Liver function, optimal, are required. What is the liver? It's the big detoxifier in the body. Takes all the bullshit, cleans it out, turns it into water soluble, turns it into the poo and into the pee. Very, very important role. It's the big detoxifier. It's like your washing machine, right? Removes the dirt, throws it out, and puts back the good stuff. Kidney is the one that is blowing and recycling and extracting a lot of stuff that is really important also as a filtration agent, right? We're filtering, we are detoxifying, and we're promoting metabolism. Three critical glands and organs that are really important for your health. And that's a summary of this week's workshops with Dr. Johnson, and also just some further guidance and education on the supplements that are required. Thank you. Join us again next time.